Good evening, Tallahassee. Welcome to your Thursday edition of FSU weather. It's very cloudy tonight in Tallahassee, lots of low-level clouds. We're looking at temperatures in the high 70s, 76, cloudy with light winds coming in at 9 miles per hour. As I mentioned, we're very cloudy right now. We have those low-level clouds pushing through. We're seeing some light showers pushing off of the Gulf, but that won't affect Tallahassee. We're staying pretty dry throughout the night. And then for tonight's temperature, we're at 67, mostly cloudy still. That sun will not peek through just yet, and we have light winds coming in at 4 miles per hour. Now for tomorrow, that sun will finally peek through at 82, partly sunny with calm winds. And tonight on FSU Weather, we'll give you some tips and tricks on how to stay hurricane prepared with hurricane season just around the corner. We'll have some rain ahead, and then we'll also have that Easter forecast for you. All that and more on FSU Weather.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Thursday edition of FSU Weather. Currently we are taking a look at Doak Campbell Stadium. It is kind of a cloudy evening, so you're not going to see that sunset too well, but it is going to be a nice 76 right now. It is very nice to be outside. It might be a little bit muggy, but it is cloudy with a nice breeze of 9 miles per hour out of the northwest. So that satellite and radar, we're seeing kind of that remnants of that cold front, currently a stationary front right down there in the Gulf. Currently, we're just taking a look at some cloud cover over Tallahassee as we zoom in. Tallahassee seeing a lot of that cloud as we saw over Doak Campbell, and that might be clearing up a little bit later into the weekend. So currently 76 in Tallahassee, 75 and 73 in Quincy, and it's a little bit cooler down in Apalachicola, but you're not seeing much of that difference in temperature. It is mostly around the mid-70s for the Big Bend area. Currently 63 in Tallahassee for that dew point temperature. We're seeing some moisture because of that moisture that we see in the Gulf, that cloud cover we were seeing over Doak Campbell Stadium. 65 down in Apalachicola, you see that dew point temperature a little bit higher because it is just a little bit more moist down there at the Gulf Coast. Wind speed and direction, you can see that wind coming in from the Gulf, coming in to the Big Bend area, 9 miles per hour in Tallahassee. That's where you're getting that moisture, that residual moisture from that broken down cold front in the Gulf. So we're going to continue seeing some of those moist conditions as the weekend goes by. The future radar showing some clearing up into the Friday evening as we see that wind coming into the Gulf, but soon is going to make quite the turn as we're going to see some more moisture coming in, kind of dispelling that dry condition that we might see Friday evening. Currently, the day planner forecast for tomorrow, 9 a.m., a cool 64, but it's going to warm up all the way to 84. That's going to be that warming of that diurnal temperature. So it's going to be most likely clear in the morning and then clear in the evening. That warming from the sun is really going to crank up that heat. So the week ahead, we're looking at some showers to be expected this Easter weekend. So hate to break it to you guys if you're expecting some outdoor activities. It is going to be maybe delayed or kind of thrown off by that rain. But going into next week, we're going to see some brighter conditions, some better conditions. But Monique, how about Florida? How is Florida going to fare as a whole with this weather?
Thank you, Ali. Florida is going to be pretty good. We're going to have some nice, warm spring conditions for Florida. And what we're seeing right now is, as Ali mentioned, we have those conditions in the 80s and 70s for Tallahassee. For that rain over the weekend, we're going to see possible showers on Sunday for Easter, but as a whole for Florida, right now in Tallahassee, we're sitting at the high 70s, 76 in the Big Bend. We're pretty dry, 82 in Miami, 81 in Key West. Now for those dew points, Ali mentioned that we have that cold front pushing through, and that has weakened, so we're seeing relatively dry conditions in Tallahassee, but we're seeing moist conditions. As you'll see, we'll have some showers throughout Central and South Florida, so those dew points do allude to those conditions that we'll see. For our satellite and radar, we have some scattered storms popping up, some pop-up showers, and lots of low-level clouds. And if we zoom through central Florida, we have more cloud cover, not too active on that satellite and radar, but we are going to see some scattered thunderstorms throughout the day. And if we push through and we look at the Big Bend, Tallahassee, and Panama City, this area right here, more and more clouds. Not too sunny yet, and we do have those slight showers popping up off of the Gulf. But for Miami right now, we're sitting at 85, pretty much the low 80s throughout the weekend. High 80s in Tampa, 88, looking pretty good. Slight precipitation chances throughout that weekend as well. Orlando, not too great for Disney weather. We have a really, really nice 90 degrees on Saturday, as you can see, but we have that 31% chance of rain. So if you're going to Disney, make sure you buy that rain poncho at Disney or bring one, because you know how Orlando is, it's probably going to rain. And for Jacksonville, again, rain chances throughout the weekend, but nice temperatures in the high 70s, high 80s, and 82 on Sunday. And for Pensacola, again, more rain, more clouds throughout the weekend, temperatures in the high 70s, 81, 78 on Sunday. And now for our storm outlook, we are seeing some dry conditions, as I mentioned, in the Big Bend, but we will see some thunderstorms possibly through central Florida and South Florida for tonight, so be aware of that and be prepared for those storms if they do come. More clouds, more rain throughout the week and weekend for our future radar, and we are seeing some onshore flow with those winds coming in throughout the night and up until Friday evening. Now for tonight's temperatures, we are looking at a nice 61 degrees. If you're outside, make sure to bring a jacket. We're seeing some low-level clouds again throughout Florida, 74 in Miami, 72 in West Palm, 70 in Fort Myers. So we're looking at pretty good conditions, but as I mentioned before, we will see some rain throughout the state. Now I'm going to pass it to our national.
Yeah, so going ahead and taking a look at your national forecast, notice we are going to have quite the swing in temperatures as you head across the country. Whereas Billings and Bismarck, you're up in the 20s, historic blizzard up in the Dakotas yesterday. But as you head further south into the country, notice temperatures are going to warm up. And that's going to be the story of tonight's show. We have this cold front that's trying to give a last punch of winter Arctic air down into the southern U.S., but we do have a high pressure system over the Atlantic and in the southeast that is going to pump warm air back into the region and sort of fight that cold air trying to come in from the north. However, where it is a little bit warmer in the south, it's not going to be those typical muggy summer-like conditions where you're outside and it's like you're wearing pea soup. Instead, you're going to have dry air that is seeping down from the north. So while the cold may not be winning, the dry air is winning, and that's why this cold front that we have stooped across the country is not going to be producing that much active weather. Here is that cold front we're talking about. And notice it has this high pressure system right here, and it looks kind of just funky. Notice there's not much activity really organized with it. It is occluded back to a low that's causing some snow with that aforementioned blizzard in the Dakotas and Minneapolis. More on Minneapolis later tonight, stay tuned. But as you are going through the region, notice we have this purple front, and that's going to be where the warm front and the cold front caught up to each other. However, in this little triple point region where we have this low in New York and Philadelphia, that's the only area of the country where we're really seeing significant weather right now. This whole pattern is once again reflected in the water vapor, but notice along the front you're not really having that the vivid colors that we usually get with severe weather. However, as we move into the northeast, notice we did have a severe thunderstorm, some severe thunderstorm warnings just to the south of New York along the Jersey Shore and up near Springfield, Massachusetts. There was a slight risk of severe thunderstorms there today. This is a better look at those alerts. Notice right here in Connecticut, just to the south of New York, starting to approach Long Island, and then down in Delaware, we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings, but not a large-scale severe weather outbreak, which is good news. As we head over into the Midwest, notice we do have, with this Alberta Clipper type low pressure system we have, there's going to be some great spin you notice on the satellite, and then of course, because this is the area of the country where it is below freezing right now, the cold air is winning and we are getting snow showers. This is going to be reflected in our active alerts. Notice that blizzard warning for Bismarck and our friends up in North Dakota, they have been dumped with feet of snow, setting records for this time of year. I am thankful we are not up there right now because I am ready for the sun. I'm going to the beach on Saturday. So thankful for our Florida weather because that is not fun. However, notice some of the snow may eventually start to melt and go down the river, and we are approaching river flood season where we'll have to watch for that to become a problem into next week, hence why the flood watch is out. As we head out west, much needed rain from Seattle down to San Francisco into the Nevadas. Perpetual drought in the southeastern region, and this is actually very good news. In the upper elevation, we might be seeing some snow, and that snow may melt and run off into areas that have been quite parched as of late. However, as you head into Texas, and I know Texas updated their drought monitor today, this is bad news. We have red flag warnings all the way up from the Mexico border near El Paso, all the way up the Central Plains, and that, because we have such dry air and such a high drought monitor right now, any wildfire that forms in this region is going to spread quickly through the wind. But going back to more of the severe weather side of things, majority of the country, you're clear, but we do have that tiny little slight risk over your I-95 corridor along the East Coast. Then as we head into tomorrow, once again, more of a marginal, very slight risk for some damaging winds associated with general thunderstorms in the southeast, but not too much going on. And that's going to be associated with that, once again, stationary front. But for tonight's temperatures, notice very mild across the southeast. That cold front isn't really going to bring that big of a punch. And then temperatures will, of course, recover into tomorrow, with temperatures warming up into the 70s and 80s across the southeast. And Texas, you are starting to boil again tomorrow, which will set us up for more severe weather heading into next week. However, Jason is here to give you that little snippet on Minneapolis that I just talked about.
Yeah, so Minneapolis, it's a great city, but for this segment, we're doing a big city, small town. So we're going to be looking at a huge city like Minneapolis. So you definitely heard of Minneapolis, a home of the stadium, Minneapolis, right here, right? Home of the Vikings. But and right now, as Jonathan was talking about before, they are getting dumped with snow. So their temperature right now is around the like low 30s, 33 right now, and here is just a wall of snow hitting Minneapolis right here, and there's looks like there's no end in sight. But luckily there is tomorrow. They're going to be hopefully clearing up tomorrow, but getting more on Sunday. So you've heard of Minneapolis, obviously, but have you heard of Minneapolis, North Carolina? It's a very small town. Elevation is around 3,500, and the population is 331. For the temperature, though, it's much better, much better for than Minneapolis and up there. So it's gonna be, it's so small, but it's right here. It's gonna be 56, which is around the same temperature as everyone else. And the satellite radar, it's somewhere in this area. It's really hard to see because it's so small, but they're not getting much. They're getting some clouds that's moving in, that moved out of the way, but the future radar shows those clouds moving out, so perfect for that. And you can see those clouds creeping in on Friday morning, and then those clouds up here to the northwest, bringing in some clouds. For tonight, it's going to be very chilly, more chill, not compared to Minneapolis, but clear, northwest winds at 7 to 10 miles an hour. And for the 3-day forecast, though, it's going to be 60, so completely different from the other Minneapolis. 39 low, though, and 60 with 85% chance of rain on Saturday. So you saw that rain moving in on the futurecast. And that's what's going to be bringing those rain clouds in with 60 as the high there. But for Sunday, it's going to be much better with a 15% chance of rain with 62 as the high. So now I'm actually going to send it to the desk where we're going to be talking about some hurricanes, where hurricane season is really coming up soon. So.
Yeah, so we wanted to go ahead and take a minute, and we've sort of been in severe weather mode where we talk about getting to the lowest level of your home, but some of these safety policies really start to vary when we get into hurricane season, and we wanted to take a minute to talk about it because one of the pesky models has suddenly decided to spin up a tropical system off the coast of the Carolinas. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we want to be prepared just in case it does, so that's why we're doing a hurricane preparedness desk. So Juanique, have you had any experience in a hurricane? Because
I have. So, you know,
Okay.
hurricanes are a very scary situation, and you want to always make sure to hide from the winds and
flee from the water.
Flee from the water. And so, you know, with hurricanes, we see very severe winds, and we can possibly see very high floodwaters.
Yes. So one of the biggest threats with hurricanes is it's kind of a double-edged sword. First, you have the wind that is going to be much, much stronger. And in severe weather season, we talk about that straight line wind risk. That's usually, you're not really going to have time to evacuate, whereas with a hurricane, it's not the wind you're going to evacuate from. It's going to be that storm surge, right?
Exactly. And if you have that storm surge at your home, make sure you are fleeing to the highest level of your home.
Yes.
Make sure you are also avoiding those windows, those doors, anything that could cause damage to yourself or your home with those high winds.
Whereas if you are in the event of a tornado or not a tropical storm, a severe thunderstorm, you do not want to be on the highest level of your home in that situation.
Exactly, because that tornado could, of course, cause damage to you and your home.
Yes. However, one thing that is going to be interesting that the National Hurricane Center, pardon me, I'm still in severe weather lingo, the National Hurricane Center is actually going to give us our first tropical weather outlook for the season on May 15th, whereas usually hurricane season started on June 1st.
Oh, wow.
So we haven't officially made that switch yet, but one thing that's going to be interesting coming in the next few years is that we've sort of had these early season storms sort of creep up on us, and one of those actually impacted Tallahassee a few years ago. So that's it. We want to make sure our viewers have their hurricane kits planned. So we want to make sure y'all are prepared for hurricane season, and now we are going to go back over to a local with Priscilla.
Thank you so much. So yeah, right now we've got a look at our local cameras. We see the Sportsplex, Panama City, St. George Island, Lake Bradford. We've got lots of clouds over the whole region, lots of low-lying clouds, but thankfully, no storms for now. Looking at our satellite and radar, we see lots of all this cloud coverage pushing away, and even this rain mass that we had. This was actually associated with that stationary front that came through a couple days ago, but it is pushing off to the Gulf of Mexico. So things are looking good for us right now. And moving over to our temperatures, we see mid to upper 70s throughout the Big Bend region. We're sitting here at 76 in Tallahassee, so nice and comfortable. We see it's just that wonderful early spring. Maybe it's warming up a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but temperatures are starting to warm up. Looking at our dew points, we see they're relatively close to our temperatures, only about 15 points away. So we're going to see that's why we have that muggy air and making things a little bit more moist in the air. Looking at our future radar, we see, again, that stationary front push off, and we've actually got some interesting wind patterns. So we had, after the front went through, then we had the winds come from the north, and then we've got that sea breeze coming up from the south. And looking at tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be 82 and sunny with winds from the east at 5 miles per hour. So tomorrow's going to be a little warm, sunny. Make sure to put on your sunscreen. Make sure to stay safe with the heat. And then looking at Saturday and the weekend, we see 83 with a 40% chance of storms after 3 p.m. and some slight winds. So if you've got anything crazy planned, make sure, anything crazy outside, maybe just think about that. Maybe have a second backup plan, but should be good to go. And then again, looking at our Sunday res forecast, maybe not the best idea to go to the res because we've got this chance for thunderstorms and same temperature, similar winds, similar conditions really throughout the whole weekend. So again, just really take that into consideration when making your plans for this weekend. And looking at our Panama City beach forecast, same deal. Wouldn't really be too smart to make that trip out to the beach. But now we've got our look at the week ahead and great conditions. We're seeing upper 70s and then mid 60s. And now I'm going to pass it off to Nico with a look at the southeast.
Thank you, Priscilla. For a look at the southeast, as you can see, the weather looks really nice in Atlanta and in Blacksburg, Virginia. However, Gainesville, you got the front in the area, so it's super, super cloudy in that area, but not raining at the moment. Bowling Green, Kentucky. The front's cleared you, so it is cooler and sunny outside there. And look at your temperatures around the southeast. 76 degrees here in Tallahassee. It's a little bit cooler than the past few days with the front passing through, but you're not going to see much of a difference with this front because it's kind of a dying front. The main cold air will come through later this weekend, but you will notice the front where the front's at in the dew point. And as I alluded to earlier, the dew points are in the 40s in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi. That is much drier air than what you have here in Florida. Dew points are in the 60s and in the 70s. It is very, very muggy this evening in Florida. If you've stepped outside, you've probably noticed that if you've been outside this evening. It's very, very muggy. And look at your satellite and radar. Not much in the way of rain unless you're way down over South Florida. If you take a look at this giant blob of rain in the Gulf on the dying front, this will not affect us here in Tallahassee. It's pointed towards South Florida, but I'm not quite sure that's going to make it there, to be honest. And you got a lot of rivers that are flooding because of the recent rainfall, including the Apalachicola River west of Tallahassee is under a flood advisory right now. And look at your future radar. These are the storms that I alluded to earlier in southern and central Florida. However, nothing's going to happen here in Tallahassee the next couple days. As you get into Saturday, you've got a big complex of thunderstorms coming into northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, northern Georgia. Some of those could be strong to severe on Saturday, so if you know people up in those areas, let them know to watch out for some strong thunderstorms on Saturday. And for storms today, nothing up here in Tallahassee, but if you get into southern and central Florida, that's where you got the storms developing along the sea breeze today. Not expecting anything severe today, but as you get into tomorrow, parts of the inner southeast, especially Arkansas and Oklahoma, could see some severe weather. And then on Saturday, this is the severe weather I talked about in Mississippi and Alabama that I had talked about earlier. Tonight's forecast is going to be cloudy and 61 in Tallahassee, chillier where the cold front's already come through. And then tomorrow will be 86 and sunny in Tallahassee. And now I'm going to pass things off to Jason.
Thanks, Nico. So yeah, it's a very, very nice day out. Other than if you like clouds, I like clouds. It's not, you don't get sunburned as much. You still get sunburned, so please wear sunscreen when it's cloudy. But you see that pretty sunset over Doak Campbell Stadium right now. But for the Thursday night nightlife forecast, it's 67. So if you're going out, make sure you guys know it's going to be cloudy and with 67 and winds of 5 to 10 miles an hour. So it might be a pretty good night for that. Earlier today it was showing it was raining, but not anymore. It's going to be like not much anymore. But one thing that's not going to be good is stargazing. It's going to be very poor. So it's going to be only 15% full winning crescent, but not very good because of all those clouds. For Dick Howser Stadium, though, it's going to be hopefully a good game tomorrow. But also for tonight, it's going to be, as we saw before, it's not going to be much rain, but they also play tomorrow too, so make sure you watch that. So this is my dog. This is Callie. And she loves walks sometimes when she feels like it, but 7 a.m. is a little too early for her. She loves around 11 a.m., which is perfect, but a little hot for me. But Good Friday, which is tomorrow, it's going to be 77, partly cloudy, and winds of 5 miles an hour. Easter this weekend, though, it doesn't really feel like Easter, but it's going to be 40% chance of rain on Sunday with 84. And then the weekend planner, just going to be very nice and pretty clear other than Sunday. But now, Jonathan, I'm going to bring on for the local because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, this is actually kind of the first time I've done a local in a very long time. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Looking at your almanac, notice today is a little bit below average, and that's going to be a result of this. I want to call it a cold front, but it's honestly kind of too weak of an example to call a real cold front. So we're going to call it a cool front. The cool front that moved through today is going to keep temperatures a little bit below average. However, your low temperature is also not going to get that much lower as a result of this cold front not being that strong. But currently over Doak Campbell Stadium, 76 degrees. All this cloud cover is going to keep it a little bit cooler during the day, but as a result of the diurnal cycle that was mentioned earlier in the show, that cloud cover is going to keep it a little bit warmer at night, actually. 76 degrees right now, mostly cloudy skies with a little bit of a northerly wind. That means our air is going to dry out, and we're eventually going to see this cloud cover kind of continue to push off to the south and the east, and we're going to eventually return to clear skies. Zooming back in over Tallahassee, you'll notice that very thick cloud deck has kind of already started to thin over people to our east over in Perry. However, to our west, it's sort of still lingering around. So we're going to have to monitor those conditions as we head into our evening hours. Looking at our temperatures, however, where that cloud deck is a little bit thicker, it is a little bit cooler down by Quincy and Bainbridge. However, in Tallahassee and Perry, where we've thawed out a little bit, the sun has allowed us to warm up into the higher 70s. Our dew points, however, do remain high across the area, meaning that the dry air that I mentioned during my national segment has not protruded its way down to the Florida Panhandle right now. But as we look at our future radar, notice our wind directions are going to start to eventually come down the north, which will bring that dry air. But as we head into the evening tomorrow, notice it does a full 180 and decides to come back on with onshore flow, meaning that we could see some pop-up showers into your evening hours tomorrow, where that sea breeze decides to collide and converge. As we look at the week ahead, notice temperatures are going to be warm in your 80s, then eventually go into the 70s, but the real story of the week ahead is going to be those rain chances over your Easter weekend. Now to wrap up the show, I'm going to pass it over to the desk, and they're going to give you one last look at your 7-day.
Thank you so much. I am not looking forward to those storms this Easter weekend. How do you feel about that?
I don't want to think about it. Originally, are you doing anything for Easter?
Well, I think I'm probably just going to do some volunteering in the Tallahassee community. I don't really have like anybody visiting. Do you have anybody visiting this weekend?
Yeah, I actually was going to have my parents come visit, but then some things happened, so like, I couldn't make it.
That's a shame.
All too well. Still going to enjoy the parts of the day that will have good weather for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we can take advantage of some of that nicer weather we've been seeing this week, and not so much those showers that we're expecting this weekend. Yeah.
Yes, but I know on Friday I heard there is the circus show coming up.
Oh my gosh, yes, there is a circus show this Friday at 7 p.m. And I think there's 2 on Saturday, one at 2 and then one at 8 p.m.
Yes, so that would be a great way in case it's storming. Get inside, check out the FSU Circus. They've got shows at 2 and 7. That would be a great opportunity.
Yeah, of course. I'm super excited about that. Definitely something to look forward to this weekend if you guys are interested in having any fun or visiting any local FSU activities.
Yes, absolutely. And as for the weather, make sure to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/FSU weather.
Or you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU weather.
And you're probably watching us live on YouTube right now. If you're not, make sure to subscribe at youtube.com/FSU weather.
Or you can keep posted with us by following us on Instagram at FSU weather.
And send us in your pictures if you like. But that's all for tonight's show. I'm student meteorologist Priscilla Vijalta.
And I'm student meteorologist Alejandra Garcia, and have a great night, Tallahassee.